copy of the last minutes. The minutes from June 1st will have to be tabled to the next one. The minutes that we have are from April 12th. Our general chapter meeting from April 12th. Anyway, so we need to approve the minutes. Does anybody want to make a motion to approve the minutes as typed? Ryan has made the first motion. Anybody want a second? I'll second. Catherine, all those in favor? Aye. All those against? Any abstentions? Okay, minutes are approved. All right. Okay, so we're done with that. So, all right, so the next item is new executive committee. Ray Fennell left the university and took another job in Oregon and is now close to where his son lives, which is good for him. And he's working at his alma mater, which is also very cool for him. Working in the seat of the man who inspired him when he went to college there. So he's kind of come full circle. So that's very cool for him. We're excited for him. I was the vice president according to chapter bylaws. As long as I was willing, I moved into the president position, which is why I'm the president. And I will remain so unless there's a coup and you guys want to throw me off. Until the next chapter elections, in which, I may want to run or somebody may want to run against me, who knows. So that's all up in the air and that's not going to happen until after the first of this next year. So there's that. So then we volunteer nominated James Detlefsen. James in the back of the room is our vice president. And he became vice president by appointment, which the president has the authority to do, and I saw the council of the executive committee and it was unanimously approved. So he's now our vice president. Thank you, James. And our treasurer remains Chris Shirey. She wasn't able to make it today. She's hurt her back. So when we get to it, the minutes are on the back of the agenda. And what did I say? Yes, the treasurer's report. I apologize. Well, nerve-wracking. All you guys. So Chris is still the treasurer. 2 Steward Unit 7 rep is still Catherine Plunkett. Extraordinaire, I should have cut out her name. Unit 9 rep is still Jamie Jacks. And a new organizing chair, who was also volunteered and graciously accepted the appointment of the chair position, Morgan Alcala. She was appointed the same way James was. Our secretary is Kathy Lund. She started last year, so I'm sure some of you are familiar with them. Thank you, Kathy.
Do you still want that mic?
No, it's okay. I'm loud enough. Everybody can hear me okay?
Yeah. Because they had put it in the 25 live, so that's why it was never delivered.
It should have been. It's still there.
It's in there for October 4th.
October 4th. Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Hey, you RSVP. You're supposed to be in here. Okay. So anybody that has an asterisk after their names, myself, James, Chris, Catherine, Jamie, we are all union stewards, and we're working on getting Morgan and Kathy union stewards as well. So that's a process, and it just takes time. So I'm doing the very best I can, being a squeaky wheel. Okay, so with that, my report. A couple of things. I sent out an email to everybody. AB 2386 was was the bill that we were trying to get passed for the second time by Governor Brown to get a staff represented seat on the Board of Trustees. That's not a manager position, that's not an administrative position, and it's not a, I'm going to use the wrong term again.
Alumni.
We're talking about this morning. Confidential, thank you. Not a confidential employee. That's a bargain employee seat on the Board of Trustees. So unfortunately, he vetoed it again for the second time, and has now thrown it back to the CSU Board of Trustees and said, you know, you guys need to work it out. And the reason why we went to the governor is because they wouldn't give us a seat, so it's back and forth right now. I'm working on putting together a petition for all of us that are members to sign, to present to Dr. Mitchell, not an attacking kind of, everybody's like, oh, I'll put my name on it, this is Dr. Mitchell. Don't freak out. It's just basically asking him, showing him that we want his support. You know, our solidarity, showing that we want him to support us at their table and getting a staff seat for us so that we have representation. Alumni support has a seat, faculty has a seat, students have a seat, ASI. We don't. And they're up there making all kinds of policy for us to do here, and we don't get a say in it. And I'm working on giving examples of times when have we been advised or had an input, we could have maybe said, hey, that's not going to work because, and save some taxpayer dollars and some time and some workarounds and additional monies that have been spent. I'm still working on some responses for that. And as soon as I have those, I will let you guys know. I'm also, once I get the petition, just by show of hands, how many would be willing to sign something like that? It's not mean or abrasive to the president and supporting, just asking for support. Okay, so once I get that out, maybe we'll do a meet the street for a morning break or something and have everybody sign. And then I'm going to have a face-to-face. Their next meeting is in November, their Board of Trustees. And I want to get all this together and present it to the president by then so that he can take it with him and say, hey, this is what my campus is doing. And there's other campuses that are coming up with creative ways to get their presidents on board to say, hey, they deserve a seat. The other thing I want to talk about, there's a few on the table you guys will have to share. This was sent out. I got mine at my home address. I don't know if anybody else did. You got one too? Okay. So, is anybody familiar or remember Prop 30? And it supported and gave more money to health and welfare programs, and it helped fund us and got us out of furloughs and got us out of, you know, the red, basically, and put us back in black. ACDC. Sorry. Every time I say that, I think so we got out of the negative numbers, and we now have the surplus, and we got more and more funding each year as we were going along. Prop 55 extends that, and let's see, I've got notes here, so it'll extend the high earner income. Well, you guys can read. I don't need to read all that to you. It extends the higher earner income for another 12 years, but not the sales tax portion, which expires in 2018. Prop 55 will free up revenues, continue funding the CSUEU and critical social services. And our union is behind this proposition. I'm not up here telling you how to vote. That is not my job. I just want you guys just to be informed, and I'm just passing along the information. And there was a letter that came with these in the mail, so if you guys got something, read the letter. It gives you this exact same information. The alternative, we don't, if it doesn't pass, not if we don't, if it does not pass, there'll be we'll just start going higher and higher in debt. And just continue ad infinitum. So the CSUEU supports it along with several other unions. The ones that they noted were California Teachers Association, Federation of Teachers, and SEIU, California. Anybody have any questions on any of that? Yeah.
Just so that I'm clear, is this a yes or a no? Because most of the time they tell you yes or no.
I believe we are in support, the union is in support of voting yes on 55. Because that it's basically an extension of Prop 30 that they have to put another name. Okay. So the treasurer's report, again, Chris isn't here. Her report is on the back. Please look it over. Did you have another question? Okay. Ryan's being disrupted. If you have any questions, I'm more than happy to write them down and ask Chris, or you can email her directly. Can we make a motion to accept the treasurer's report as it is? Or does she have to do that? I don't know the rules on that yet.
Well, if anyone doesn't have any questions, you can, or you can table it.
Okay. Anybody have any questions? Let me start there about the treasurer's report. No? Do we want to table for the next meeting, or do we want to, yes, Jamie?
Why don't we go ahead and just approve the treasurer's report as it is?
Okay. Does anybody want to make a motion? Or you're making the motion? Okay. Anybody want a second that we approve the treasurer's report as written? James, a second. All in favor? Aye. Anybody opposed? Abstentions? All right, treasurer's report is approved. Thank you, James. Jamie and James. All right, so now we'll have the chief steward report. Catherine?
My report is to remind you all that the end of the year is coming up and you need to check your vacation balances and make sure that you're not going to be going over the maximum accrual number. And so, does everyone know what their maximum accrual number is for vacation? You know where to look? So under 10 years, it's one number. Over 10 years, it's another number. And I have it right here. Okay, so 10 years or less is 272 working hours. And over that is 384 working hours. Now, some people that have been here a long time annually come up to this scary thing. And so all you have to do is request vacation, even if you know it's going to be denied due to operational needs. But you do have to have that written request on record so that HR can process it and give you a special dispensation so that you can not lose any vacation. And it's not that you really lose vacation, you stop accruing vacation. Okay, and then the other thing that we notice,
Catherine, don't they have to use that time though the first 3 months of the year, according to HR?
I think they write that all up, and depending on how busy your department is, they'll make accommodations. Some people have had 6 months in order to use up that extra time.
There's no hard and fast rule.
Article 10, evaluations. We notice that people forget to look at the timelines. So when you get an evaluation that you're not in total agreement with, there are things that you can do. But you need to contact a union representative within the first 30 days immediately. I think all of the supervisors on campus really do understand that they have to give you 5 days to review it. And we recommend that even if it's outstanding, you take it and use it for 5 days. Use that 5-day time to really think about it, and if you have questions, call one of us. You don't have to sign it right there in front of them. Some of the newer supervisors might not really realize that, so you can educate them politely and just say, well, there's supposed to be a 5-day waiting period here. And so it's really hard to defend against an old evaluation. And if it's over 30 days, that means it's old. That's all I have.
Catherine?
Is there anybody in here that's on probation right now? Raise your hand. Okay, if you happen to get a evaluation that is less than satisfactory, get a hold of us right away, because it's real important that anything of a negative nature in your evals, whether it's a 3 month, 6 month, if you don't contest it in one way or another or question it, it's going to stand as whatever they said about you is true and accurate, okay? And that's where you get into the review. You have 5 days to review it. You can ask for an additional 5 days, but don't try to do it on your own, and don't just say, hey, this thing, I'm not going to worry about it because I know the next one's going to be better. We've had situations where all of a sudden a year or later, the next eval, they reference the poor evaluation you got when you were on probation. Okay, so it's not something to take lightly. Get a little Catherine, get a little Shelley, and oftentimes what we'll do, because they usually forward the email to me, because I'm the assigned CSUEU staff for this campus, then we will look at we will say, we'll write up the draft input, we'll look at it for you, maybe we'll make some recommendations, maybe we'll say it's good to go submit it, okay? And like Catherine mentioned, there are other steps to take. If you submit your input and call it input, don't call it rebuttal. If they still don't want to change it, then you can ask for a meeting with the supervisor, the person that did it. If they don't change the plan, then you can ask for another meeting where a steward or yourself goes into the meeting with you and your supervisor's boss, okay? So there's about 3 different steps you can take that are in the contract that you should take advantage of, especially if you get a evaluation that you don't think you deserve.
Catherine, I have 2 questions. What happens if you don't get a review?
If you don't get a review and everything's going along fine, then don't worry about it, don't bring it up.
Okay.
But if things aren't going along fine and you haven't had a review, don't bring it up, but come and talk to us.
The assumption is if you don't get a review that everything's satisfactory, okay? And they cannot use the absence of evaluation for, if you put in by IRP or something else of that nature, they can't say, well, since you don't have a recent evaluation, we don't know how you've been, your performance has been. They can't use it in that manner. So Catherine's correct. If everything seems to be going okay, don't worry about it because the standing inference is satisfactory.
Okay, and then the other thing is in our area, we've been asked to set goals. Are we required to do that? That's a question that's come to me several times.
Actually, we had a discussion, short, brief discussion this morning with Kelly we meet almost every week with Kelly Garcia to talk about different issues or things that are coming up. And this is brought to, the issue you're talking about was brought to our attention last week. And I brought it to Kelly's attention. She talked to the supervisor involved. And the end result is what they're looking for from employees is to say, hey, this year, what for personal growth, I want to take certain classes, certain courses, or I want to go to certain type of training, or I want to become more proficient in whatever it may be. And those are personal growth type of goals, okay? That you're not going to be graded on during your next evaluation. They may say, well, here you said you want to do X, you only did X minus 4. What happened to keep you from reaching that personal growth goal? And the answer is going to be, well, I put in for this class, and then I was told that, we can't, because I'm so important that I can't go to that class. so I had to drop out, and that's why I didn't do it, which is a legitimate reason, okay? So that's how we're gonna handle that. Aside from that, your supervisor can establish some goals that they expect you to meet during the next year, and as part of your evaluation. And again, here's where we get into, you know, I'm a ASC1, they want me to be doing ASC2 work, they're not paying for me. What do I do? Contact Shelley, contact Catherine, and then we sit down and say, hey, you're going to have to revise this goal, because unless you're going to add some money to that, then why should this person be performing a 2 work, or why should that be your goal when you're, you know, having that issue?
Thank you. Any other questions? Yes?
Can a probationary period for a long-term employee, can that be shortened? I mean, for good behavior, for good work? Can you petition to have that shortened?
Are you referring to if you've been here and you've gained permanency in a position and then you're moving on to a different one, that can be part of your bargaining when they come back and say, hey, well, we want to offer you this position, and you say, okay, let's talk about salary, and I also want to talk about waiving my probationary
So I
period.
missed my window of opportunity.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Okay.
things like that you want to try to negotiate before you accept the promotional opportunity.
We requested that, Kathy, because I just went through the change in position about something you did, and we requested that my probationary period be shortened, and they said no, HR said no. Because I requested, my dean requested it, my supervisor requested a shortened probationary period, because we had heard that was something we could do, and they said no. HR said no, so I said, oh, wow, it's already gone by, and it's been 6 months, so I'm not
Was it
worried
a
about
new
it.
position? It was substantially different than what you were doing
The
out
position
back?
description is very different, yeah.
Okay,
It's still, and it was from an instructional support tech 2 to a tech 3. So it's the same class of position, just an increase in level. And HR said, no.
did they
Still have to
say
do
you
the 1
were
year.
already doing that work, and so
The
then
supervisor had
they followed
written,
up with the reclass after you'd already been doing the level 3 work?
and HR said no. If I had been, and I didn't get a copy of the response from HR, it went straight to my supervisor, and I did not get a copy of it.
You should go and look in your file.
It is in
personnel
my,
file.
yeah, it's there, but I didn't like get an emailed copy of it. I saw it when I was going over my position description with my new supervisor, with the intern dean. And she said, oh yeah, we got this. And I was like, oh, can I see that? Because I hadn't seen it yet. They hadn't emailed me to tell me it wasn't approved.
I like that example because what Catherine's bringing up is you should, you know, at least once or twice a year, make an appointment, go look at your official personnel file. You don't want to be caught with surprises if they want to take some kind of action against you, and there's something in there you were not aware of.
Yeah,
You know, you need to do
I didn't
that.
realize there had been a response. I kind of had forgotten about it because I got busy doing, working,
Doing your job.
doing my job and the new
Yeah.
position and everything that I had forgotten kind of.
I thought
But,
you
yeah.
couldn't add anything to your personnel file without letting me know. Is that?
Well, they're not supposed to. And so it would be interesting, and I'll go with you if you want to look at your file and see if you're CC'd on there. It could be just an innocent mistake. We would call to the attention of HR and say, oh, she never got a
Yeah.
copy of this.
On
And yet it's in
the-
the file. And you're right, Marty.
On the memo to the supervisor, I'm not listed as one of the, like, it should be copied to me.
Okay.
So I don't know if that was just oversight or
We'll ask
a
about it.
mistake, but
And it'll be a learning experience, you know, maybe someone new didn't know.
yeah, because I know there are some new people who could.
Did you request it to have your personnel file copied, so that you get copies of it? When you go to look
Yes,
at it,
you
can you
can
say,
pay
can you
for
give
it.
me copies of it?
Yes, it's 10 cents a page. If you are anticipating or considering filing a grievance, you can get free copies out of your personnel file. But if you wanted a whole copy, they would charge you for it. they being the man, HR, our friends in HR. Okay,
So you
anyone else?
files agreements with the-
Yeah, okay. You do know that we are going to have equity raises again this year for a very small number of people that meet the criteria. And they're not ready to announce who the lucky people are yet, but that will be coming up.
What's the criteria?
Um,
What's the criteria?
You have to have been here like 10 years or more and not at the mid-range of your salary range, I think. And that might be oversimplifying it. I let Ray handle that.
Shelley doesn't know yet.
And I didn't tell Shelley. Okay, some Unit 9 people have been asking about exempt status and overtime. And we don't have a CSU position yet on that. That's a change in the federal law, right? Exempt status. So we don't know. How many here are exempt? Okay, so you'll be wanting to know, huh? All right.
When is the CSU accept, when would they,
The chancellor's office
Yeah.
hasn't given us any kind of,
because they know it's December 1st, right?
right.
Okay. There's some people within our department who aren't aware of anyway, so.
Yeah.
It just seems odd to me that something's coming out 2 months from now and we have no idea what's going on.
Oh, they'll tell you 3 months after the fact.
Oh, yeah, part of the course.
And no other questions?
Yes. Can you explain what that is? Apparently I missed something.
There is a federal law about overtime that it's been proposed to be changed, and we don't know how the CSU is going to implement that within our system. So I think the federal law is like anything over 8 hours and anything over 40 hours a week, or?
Well, I think that part of the change that I saw that's going to happen is they're going to change the scale of what level of salary would qualify for overtime. And people that are currently exempt employees, but depending on which salary is, they may wind up saying, no, you're not really exempt. You know, you should be paid for overtime. But that's something that's coming from federal government. I don't know whether everything's been finalized and given to the chancellor's office as of yet. So, if you don't have any information on that to share with you, that's really the bottom line.
If you currently make, the FLSA standard right now to be exempt is approximately $24,000. If you make 24 or above right now, you can qualify to be exempt. What that change is going to occur on December 1st is if you're making approximately 47 for, I think it's 40, rounding it up, it's 47.5. And if that, so if you're in between that 24 and 47.5, after December 1st, you then qualify for overtime. And you don't exempt. So currently, I'm in that range, so whether I work 4 hours a week or 40 hours a week, or in some cases 70, I'm getting paid the same, and I don't qualify for overtime. Well, in athletics, it's a 7-day-a-week job, so that's why it's very important to find out what it's going to be, because the way it's looking right now is I'll end up working 3 days a week, because I know how athletics is going to work. They're not going to qualify me for overtime. They're not going to give me overtime. So in the spring or in the winter, when we have the overlap of winter sports and the spring sports, I know right now I'm working Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Like I know I'm going to get paid for that. So that's why it's important to me, and I've been working with Catherine on in my business and my national organization, getting the information out there and trying to find out what's going on, because they've been very good in our national organization about giving us presentations and arming ourselves with the information to bring to folks. So.
That would be interesting to have somebody come here and do that for us as well. We should discuss that in e-board.
I've sent you the presentations we've got. I can try to find out if that can be done.
So a follow-up question on that. The range that you are discussing, is that our base salary range, or is that range plus benefits?
That's whatever that's your salary. it's not incurred. It's my understanding it's whatever your salary. So if your salary is right now currently $41,627, that's the number you're talking about, not your benefits package.
Any more? Okay.
Does everybody know who Frank is? This is Frank Polito, who's our labor relations representative, and us, SLO, and president.
Right.
He's the guru. He's helped me out a lot. Okay, is everybody, I sent out a separate email. Everybody's familiar with the surveys. Everybody had a chance to fill it out. It's directly based on your answers, correlates to what they're going to bargain for at the table when they go into bargaining negotiations after the end of the year. If you haven't done it, take the agenda with you. It's on the agenda and complete it. And it's just, it doesn't ask you to identify who you are. I believe it asks what campus you're from. And they want to know your unit, if you're exempt, non-exempt. Took it right away, and I don't remember all the questions. But anyway, fill it out, and it's directly related to whatever you answer. Like, for example, Sonia, you could answer it one way, and Kathy can answer it a different way, and you guys will go to different screens based on how you answer each question. It's a smart question. So, do that. Does anybody have any general questions, other discussion items, other things that they want to have in future meetings, things that they'd like to hear about?
So I know there was a survey sent out a while back regarding parking and possibly dedicated parking for staff. Have you heard anything about that? If that's still on the horizon?
I haven't heard anything. Some campuses do that. Why we don't, I'm not sure. I can check into it and let you guys know.
Yeah, I think it was sent out of the president's office.
Okay, you know what it was, because I worked on that survey. I worked on that with Deborah, and basically, now that you say that, I do remember that coming out of his office. What the answer was, they've taken the information, they've taken it under advisement.
Both Fresno and SLO have staff parking, and SLO has sponsored guest parking for people like me. We can go anywhere on campus, and there's slots around there. Here, I spend at least a half hour every time I come just circling and winding up each parking lot.
Can you find out if there's plans to expand the parking? Because it's not like we don't have.
There is. We just found out today about 300 spots east of the housing.
It's going to take that.
New housing, pointing in the wrong direction.
So lot J, K1, K2, there's a grass area in between those lots and housing.
So new housing?
As soon as the conference is over, they're going to dismantle that and put parking in there.
Yeah,
It's
right
over
here
too.
It's where the circle goes around.
There'll be more out here, yeah, what is
Okay.
it?
It's gonna be like 180 spaces.
Oh, somebody said 300.
No.
I heard 300.
Well, and then Lade is gonna be extended for the
Okay.
next couple of years.
With the new building, if they're going to be building over there. And then I think they're putting in a whopping 10 spaces over by the Commons for, and they're making a lot of noise doing it, for the Kegley Access to Success building that's next to the tennis courts. They're moving over to the old dining commons. Old dining commons. Yes?
There wasn't any for the arts and humanities classroom?
From what I understand, not at this time, eventually, but they're working on the parking out here first. That's going to happen first. So.
And you said a couple of years for the new building?
Maybe like next year.
To extend A and put more parking around the new arts and humanities.
Actually, when we asked for staff designated parking a long time ago, we were told that the president did not want to seem that he was not giving something to the students and like designating something for staff would be taking away somehow from the students.
Even though we park now in the same
Even
parking
though
lots,
we're
same parking lots, the rest of them do.
Year-round.
I've got to tell you, our
But he has
switchboard,
his own gold-plated spot?
our switchboard gets 20 to 30 calls a day of people looking for parking spots, and we transfer them to the police department.
It's working out.
That's all we can do. Our switchboard gets it all day long. There's students in their car going, I cannot find.
Well, we've never run out of parking spaces.
Well, and see, and that's the people don't want to park though.
They don't want to park far.
Yeah.
I park in H and I can park in I anytime I want. They don't want to walk that far.
Yeah, and that's the
So-
thing, when we brought it up, when I was on university council, that was one of the big concerns, which started the survey that went out about the parking. And Chief Williamson had told us all that there is plenty of parking out on Ricardo and, what is that other?
H&I.
H&I. And it is, it's a hassle to walk all the way out there when you gotta work all the way on this side of campus. And it is a hassle, but there is parking out there. You know, and with students, you know, their lack of getting up with their alarm is an emergency on our part because they gotta get to their class, you know, so, and I get it, and they're done that.
Well, the other thing is you have the performing arts in the side where there's the art gallery, the theater, music. You know, we always have events going on in here. All this parking lot is completely full at 4 to 6 o'clock. And there's nowhere for people that come on this campus to park during a
Or
weekday.
later.
And they don't know where to go, you know. So there needs to be more parking on this side of campus for sure.
It's an issue, I mean, I'm willing to bring it up again, you know.
Or another issue is this campus doesn't, this is a campus that you can't go north-south. So if you
Without
park,
going out to Timbuktu.
right, if you park in lot I, which is where I work, and if you have to come over here, there's no way to drive your car if you're looking for a parking spot to come through campus to get. So that's an issue when we run into when folks are coming through campus. So that's something.
Yeah, try to go those directions. Okay, so.
I'll make another petition and bring it to the president with the one about.
Catherine, that was my dump put in the road there.
Yes.
That was a through road before.
Nobody can drive on that road. As you jump out of the way, there's a student going down the road.
Does anybody else have any things that they want me to check into and bring back? Or any other things you'd like to see at meetings, or any other activities you'd like to see happen?
When will our next general meeting be?
Well,
What month?
I don't know. I have it written down, but I don't have it with me. Before the end of the year, we're looking to have 2 per semester, so before the end of the year.
Maybe early December.
We have to submit a budget prior to the end of the year, and so usually we have a general meeting.
Yeah, we have our end of year meeting, and it's kind of like a holiday type of, even though it's not holiday specific, it's just the end of the year, holiday type of thing, so.
Remember, we're on semesters now.
Yeah, I know. So we've got to balance the meetings now with the academic calendar and not interrupt anybody else's schedule so people can take time away. However, we do these on our lunch hours, and I know a lot of people do have to work through their lunch hours when they're crazy busy, so I'll do the best I can with the calendars when we come up with a date.
It's been recommended that the next meeting be a baked potato bar instead of pizza.
We can do that. All right. Any other suggestions? I know, I'm thinking people got to be sick of pizza by now.
Since you mentioned the change in menu, my request is that if we are going to order pizza, also order salad. Like order one less pizza, maybe 2 less pizzas, because I know there's always leftovers, and get salad in addition, because I know Mountain Mike's does good salad too. And just tell them they just put, that's what we do at home, is we get pizza and salad, and they just put whatever toppings on it.
Okay.
Solitary Wednesday, we like make sure for like the new union, members here, we like people who did get shirts in the past.
Well, the only shirts that I've been able to get were when we did the Blitz, and those were done for purchased for us for going out and meeting fair share of payers and seeing if we can, wrangle them into.
Or I mean, if we can pay from them, I'll pay for mine, you know, if we get.
Yeah, we can definitely
White
talk about
shirts.
that and see about the budget and then, and we're out of this little buttons and I think, our union office is in flux right now. Where it used to be, we had to pack everything up and move it quickly for a faculty member. So it's now in a very small office and it's all in boxes and we're supposed to have a permanent home by October-ish. So once we do that, then I'm gonna get in there and whoever else wants to come, well, has to be a steward. Any stewards want to come help me do it because it's confidential information. File and put things away and get things organized and find out what I have and what I don't have. And I know there's probably some shirts in there, but probably just like odds and ends from other events. So I'll look into all of that. But yeah, on Wednesday, Solidarity Wednesday, anything that has CSUEU you can wear, I mean, I've got only t-shirts, so I know some of you won't be able to get away with wearing a t-shirt to work during the week unless it's a Capital Friday. But I do know you can order apparel on the CSUEU.org website, I believe. I'll have to find out. And I can let you guys all know if you want to purchase on your own, but I'll see what I can find out about getting something for all of the members. Any other questions?
Is everybody a member, or does anyone need a membership card?
Yeah, it's everybody who's not a member. Just willing to raise their hand and say.
See us after the meeting.
Well, if you're not a member, you can talk to any of the stewards to get information. So Morgan, I'll call is our new organizing chair. So hard time with your last name, Morgan. And so I'm gonna slowly help her get involved with keeping up with new employees that haven't joined the union yet, and kind of keeping an ongoing thing so we don't have to take 2 days to go around the whole campus and sign people up like we did back in May. So that's going to be a process, but she's a smart cookie. She'll figure it out. Yes.
On the equity pay, if you switch jobs, but you're in the same department, if you like go from one position to another, does that restart your years or? No.
Does it restart your years?
As far as for the longevity, as far as where you fall within your class, the number of years of service in your class, your job
Oh, you know what? To that question, I'm not sure. We'll look it up.
If you're within the same job class,
You'll probably change it, start all over.
Yeah, I think so.
If you're a tech 2,
Whatever
you'll get
makes
30%,
sense.
you become a tech 3, it's
Probably isn't
10%.
right. So
I think you start over.
what you're saying, it makes sense.
And it might be
Because Ray
really different than last time, correct?
I didn't hear.
Just because he did 10 years, 15 years last time, different amount, that might be completely different this time?
No, I think it's the same criteria. Last year, they did a 2-year spread, so they knew what was coming up. So they had a pretty good idea of how much it would cost.
Hold on.
Yeah, please.
Because some people got in-range progressions or not stipends, but in-range progressions, which are a permanent increase, or a reclass, then they would have dropped out of that year 2 list.
when Ray first mentioned that it was like maybe have been in the works, I know they hoped, and I know all our reps hoped too, that if it was, his example was an ASA 1 to an ASA 2, that you're still in the same job classification, but you have increased your skills, you're doing more, you've learned more, that you still should qualify.
Yeah.
They were hoping they still would qualify for that, that longevity as far as.
And so a classification that has skill levels, I think that's true.
Like from
But
like
if
a
you
level
went
1 to a
from
level 2.
If you went from an ASA to an ASC,
Then that
now
might be
you're in a
different.
totally different pay scale.
Right.
But you're still in that same group.
No,
But in
it's
this- no,
ASA
it's
versus
different.
ASC, two different classifications.
But if it's an ASA 1 to an ASA 2, that's
Yes.
still the same job classification, still.
Correct.
I would hope so. We'll fight, and
We're gonna fight for it.
Sheldon will enlighten us after we go
Okay.
This was my deer in the headlights.
I'll email you. Just so you have it documented.
Okay. Real quick, please indulge, we're gonna take a picture of everybody that came today.